and pound the hallway one morning when I was a youngster, but I forget her age. This always seemed mysterious to the three of us. I shivered in my pajamas as I heard the thunder sweep down the corridor this morning. We never knew who it would be. It felt like me. She grabbed my hair, dragged me down the hall, and threw me on the kitchen floor as the door banged shut, breaking the eerie silence. She pointed to the ceiling and asked why I hadn't cleaned the grease stain in all my girly duties. Those were hard times. My younger sister, 10 years my junior, and the household were my responsibility while attending school. Despite being young, I was the only adult in the house. I did not defend myself or say I had forgotten it owing to other duties. Starting on the counter and cleaning was simple. I was fatigued. I was tired even as a child. Since I had no help, I focused on staying afloat. Dialogue with God began. I like to joke that God was only welcome in our family when he was despised. Our family had no religion other than a little secularism and agnosticism. Still, I knew about Jesus, paradise, and damnation. Even as a child, I couldn't comprehend how a God could create hell, let us fall short of perfection, and then punish us. I started talking to God. I asked God, if you're really God, then I don't know why I can't know you're real, like you actually exist, before I die. My second, and perhaps most important, request was, if you could help my mom stop drinking, I would really believe in you. I scrubbed the ceiling. I thought about Christians and decency. I said, if you have to be good to go to heaven, and that's your only purpose for being good, then that's not really good. Or if you're good to avoid eternal damnation, hellfire, snakes, all the stuff I heard about as a little girl, then that's also corrupt. I said, I just want to be good because I'm a good person. It woke me. We felt like the clouds parted, and the light shone. It woke me up to my worth. I thought my mother misjudged me. That means I am a good person. Addicts often adopt others' undesirable traits. My mother thought no child was decent, intellectual, beautiful, or competent. I thought she wouldn't be an alcoholic and wouldn't be under so much stress if I didn't exist. I felt responsible for her suffering. After recognizing I only wanted to be nice, I felt more energetic. In a blissful daze, I left the counter and scrubbed the ceiling. Now things get intriguing. My time in space descent began. Stepping off a counter is like entering an empty pool. Physics says your head will droop. Space and time slowed down when my skull hit the floor, and I became aware of three selves: the falling body, the entity inside the body, and the all-knowing observer, who was me but detached from the entire process. I could relate to the little girl's soul essence in her body, but neither the body nor the spectator touched me. I watched my fall from afar. As indicated, everything slowed down, and I felt like a tornado whirling across space and time. Nothing but whirling space and time was audible. I was fetal and slightly elevated, seen from afar. I was suddenly in this serene, dark night, wrapped in a lovely blanket. The distant horizon was lit up vividly. Something like a knowing, not a psychic voice, resounded around and within me. This is time and space, and those lights out in the distance are stars, and that's what you are. Suddenly, I miraculously recovered and was walking upright like a cat. When I woke up, being on my feet was the biggest shock. I believed I fell, had a fantastic dream, and hit my head attempting to make sense of incomprehensible things. I ran to the bathroom in case I had a bruise, cut, or bump. If you fall 4 or 5 feet and hit the floor head-on, you'll bruise. Strangely, I had nothing. In this brief interview, I won't elaborate on that story. I want to give you some history before discussing my February 23, 1997 near-death experience. Not long after my divorce, I had a severe car accident. About 15 months had passed since my divorce. A guy invited me to his mountain cabin for skiing. I took my cousin Carmen since I wasn't ready to date. She was my witness or chaperone. We skied with his family. We didn't have fun, I wasn't ready, and the match was bad. We planned an early return. I asked Carmen if she was ready to return. Yes, she said. We turned around and returned to the airport. We took a lost road up a mountain instead of down. While driving up this mountain to the airport, he lost control of the automobile. The automobile spun on these slippery mountain roads. He tried to calm Carmen's yelling in the back seat. Calm came over me. The side of my red Jeep was hit by a speeding car descending the mountain while I meditated. I stood back, as if watching my own life, as if time had stopped again. Stepping out of the Jeep revealed a bright angelic being. I mean being, more like presence. I felt very comfortable seeing the little red Jeep spin, have a massive hit, shoot over a cliff, 80 feet below, land at 25 feet, and flip over 10 times. I was experiencing multiple realities simultaneously. Physical remains and memories of being in the vehicle, getting a hit, falling from a height, and rolling over were present. Another reality was that I was looking down from above, held and calmed by this beautiful entity as we continued our discourse, which was neither vocal nor telepathic, but more like an instant download or knowing in which I received information quickly. This bright thing initially revealed me I had devalued myself. Whoa, I didn't know I was going to die today. I think everyone has this experience, maybe an unconscious, aware one, of believing in our immortality and ultimately meeting our maker. I remember thinking this as the automobile was hit and fell off the cliff. The unexpected course of events surprised me because I had 2 small children. I was overcome with sadness. This brilliant guy showed me that life is a treasure I had never appreciated before. I saw 3 important things then. When we crashed into the ice wall at the base of that 80-foot cliff, one of the most surprising things was that I had never seen the sun go up or down, appreciated life to the fullest, recognized the significance of a new day's beginning and end, or even that any day could be a gift. I remember feeling like the sun rising over the horizon and then lowering into darkness and rest and healing. I was crushed because my life revolved around being a good daughter, mother, wife, ex-wife, friend, and responsible, nice person who always did the right thing. The mission began when I was a little girl. It was burdensome rather than enjoyable. Crystal, you were not alone. Every soul is here for its own delight. I was told this directly and told to share the word. I was blown away. Isn't that why we're here? That moment was brilliant like young grass, and it made me grateful for sight, hearing, and taste, and the ability to smell the flowers, to paraphrase an ancient proverb. I was too concerned to accomplish that. Many modern people do what I do. Grocery shop, take my kids to school, and navigate daily life. I had forgotten simple joys like seeing the sun rise and smell the new grass. I realized I had never touched or truly embraced somebody until this moment. I mean, I was a mother of 2 and had done everything from combing their hair to sending them to school to nursing them. More clearly, I affected others. I was presented with things differently. It seemed we never bonded. I've learnt that when we embrace, we offer and receive energy, love, healing, light, and these lovely bodily manifestations of beingness. After these 3 depressing facts, I remember thinking, oh well, it's too late for me, as I threw myself at the earth, which seemed to be closing in on me and my last day on earth. I was taken to a world where my life unfolded in 360 degrees, showing each moment and its effects. While in this bright, embracing, comfortable area, my every thought, deed, and virtue and evil were shown to me. I judged myself, but else there was no judgment. Regardless of guilt, shame, or judgment, I was empathetically supported. One of the most surprising features of my near-death experience was being carefully shown those good times. We don't see success indicators. For example, professional, financial, academic, reputation, or other official acknowledgement. What was shown to me as success was not our definition of success. I experienced spontaneous acts of kindness when someone liked me enough to do something pleasant for them without asking anything in return. I imagined doing nice things, helping strangers and taking care of people who had betrayed or hurt me, like my mother or a friend. Despite their actions hurting me, I cared for them and tried to help them. I managed to forgive them. I understood every notion and conduct by the end of this unfolding, having felt these rippling repercussions as both the viewer and the other person. I knew love had to underpin our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Is this my most loving response to this person, to this place, or to this thing? I questioned myself even in my hardest times. Although having a near-death or spiritually transformational experience doesn't guarantee we'll never have a dark night of the soul or be tested, the answer is sometimes yes and sometimes no. We can only attempt our best until we improve. Grace came to me. I remember this celestial entity telling me I could choose multiple timelines or destinies. One timeline included leaving Earth. My brief exposure to these timelines, let's call it an instant download since it all happened in the time it took to fall from a mountainside and hit an icy wall, showed me that one of my life pathways could lead me to die. I was shocked when I thought, oh no, I can't do that because my children need me. They're going to be orphaned. Then I realized my children would be fine without me. As mothers, we feel our fate is bound to our children's. In many ways, but ultimately, the option is up to the individual spirit. It showed me my kids will succeed. I saw them at my funeral. Without my help, they found love, married, and enjoyed life. Their entire lives was before me. If I returned with certain disabilities, my life would have been different. There were other possibilities. The only live broadcast that interested me was the one where I'm talking to you in a podcast. This celestial entity told me I will write a book, which I recently finished. You will write a book and tell the world that love is all that matters. I know this is a very old message, he said. I prefer to emphasize that this love is not romantic. This affection lacks parental love. It has dimensions no human idea could grasp. This all-encompassing love embraces light and gloom. This love matters and has no opposite. In reality, I witnessed a sign asking me to write this book. That thrilled me. I suddenly said, yes, that's what I will do. That's what I want to do. I want to tell the world that love is all that matters, and was flung into another vehicle wreck. I remember us tumbling around in the dark while I was in my body. I woke up near the mountain's base, so I must have fainted. We dropped 80 feet below the mountain's base after falling or being hurled from the ledge, colliding at 25 feet and twisting. Strangely, the Jeep was inverted. My first awakening was amazing and wild, but I think you should know this, so I'll tell you. I was glad to be alive, astonished, and saddened because the last thing I told this light being was, oh well, I guess I'm going into the light. I thought, well, my life is over. There's no possibility for me to write this book or to come back. And then I was thrown back into this body. I excitedly awaited daylight, but the smell of gasoline made me think, oh my God, this Jeep is going to explode, and I was terrified. The wheels turned and an ice wall appeared. I called my cousin by name but got no response. Despite appearing bloody, the driver claimed no injuries. I slithered out this window to climb this mountain. No one took it seriously. I conquered the mountain. Mountain climbing is not my thing. My leanings are feminine. I climbed this cold mountain, and everyone said, do you know what happened down there? I said, yes, there are 2 more people. You need to get down there. The terrible and odd element was that I suddenly empathized with everyone, understood their thoughts and feelings, and experienced their reality. I started seeing future visions like many movies on screen. On my way to the car accident, a man in rubber boots stole my wallet, tickets, and handbag, which I needed to visit my children. I was having slight convulsions and shouted, can you please get my purse, despite my cousin being carried on a stretcher and the driver being evacuated from the vehicle. It was hazy, but I think an ambulance transported me to the hospital. Disbelief increased as I could feel every emotion and thought of everyone who touched me. Despite being cold and numb, I felt everyone's feelings and had out-of-body experiences. I was admitted to the hospital upon arrival. I don't know how I got inside, but I remember a male nurse bending over me and saying, you guys were drinking, and your cousin's going to die. I said, what? What are you talking about? I don't even drink, and the person driving the car didn't have more than a glass of wine. We were not drinking. He said, well, you were doing drugs. I said, we did nothing. I shoved my way in, touched her, and felt a lightning-like sensation erupt in my palms. Her trembling reassured me she would be okay. I felt serene as if the ocean's waves had stopped. Again, the nurse grabbed my arm and said, you can't be in here. Movie-like footage of him severely attacking someone, possibly his wife or girlfriend, the night before came. I screamed, let go of me, and ran to the lavatory, hiding in a corner and wailing, "Nobody touch me. Nobody talk to me. We need to get some x-rays. Can I help you out of here?" Asked a friendly nurse who blanketed me. I agreed as long as the other nurse stayed away. She promised he wouldn't. My neck was x-rayed during shipment. After they returned, they said, "We have some bad news for you. Your neck is broken." I thought, oh no, that can't be. That's not part of my life review. The presence had assured me I would return, but that scenario didn't involve a broken neck. As I put my palm on my neck, the same sensation spread. I said, "No, you need to take another x-ray." They did, and then more. I had a neck fracture on the first one, but not the others. After learning the hospital wouldn't be accountable if my neck was broken, I signed away my rights and departed. A few weeks later, I returned home and locked myself in. I was terrified during this time because I'd never experienced the paranormal or psychic. I suddenly saw auras. I had no idea what an aura was. The ideas of others felt like mine. I could feel them in my body. The extent of people's humiliation and anxiety shocked me more than anything else. That aura made me cry whenever I was around others. Carmen and I visited 2 weeks after the disaster. I was surprised by her state when I entered. Multiple head traumas left her the most wounded. Although my neck wasn't broken, severe whiplash prevented me from turning it. Carmen's entire face was broken except for her eyes. Her illness was indicated by swollen eyelids and rubber bands around her teeth. I was afraid because she didn't look like the beautiful, shining woman I recalled. "Crystal, this is your cousin Carmen, and you love her." I overcame medical specialists, nurses, and her family to approach her. They were unhappy with me because I invited her on the vacation and was responsible for the tragic situation. I wasn't driving, yet being there made them uncomfortable enough to ignore me. Such accidents can happen on snowy roads. It still made me nervous. The scenario gets interesting when I approach Carmen, who was comatose. She opened her eyes when my hand touched her, surprising the doctors, nurses, and her mother. Everyone was shocked. She staggered over to me with her tiny IV and said, "Crystal, I'm in the light. I've never been so radiant. I'm a star." I was shocked since as a child, I was told that nighttime lights were stars, which we are. The universe or God used this to confirm that the cosmos is experiencing a mysterious, enigmatic, and miraculous makeover. I understood what she meant by "we are stars." Her mother scowled and said, "Brain damage." Carmen went back to bed and fell asleep. Her mother was horrified and thought I was a poltergeist because of her strong religious beliefs. My visits to Carmen stopped, and I don't know what she thought. My heart broke when they told me not to come and refused to let me in. After years apart, Carmen and I had a lovely reunion recently. Everything came out well. She recovered beyond her doctor's expectations. Cosmic grace exists. She returned as Dallas Opera main violinist after a full recovery. After retiring, beginning a real estate company, and finding her partner, she was happy. To conclude, I'm often asked if I can still sense people's emotions and thoughts, and if touch can heal them. We'll answer your queries as follows. First, a continuum of empathy exists, but we are all empathic. I closed that door since it was obtrusive. I could do it, but I won't. I closed that door to avoid prying into someone's privacy. I felt more like a conduit for healing energy when repairing myself or others. I believe we are all healing conduits since this energy ran through me. Our presence can heal or cause negative. Being enlightened and loving, choosing love over fear, and being graceful and compassionate makes us recover. I avoid touching people to feel energy. It may happen again, but not now. A broken neck marked my life, thus it was a blessing. Forward and forth, I turned the clock. Every seemingly insignificant thought and action can change our existence on one of the many timelines. When a Brazilian butterfly flaps its wings, a tsunami is caused by the butterfly effect. That shows how powerful thoughts and deeds are. I was terrified and enlightened to hear that our actions might affect not only our lives but also that of others, the cosmos, and even our source. My first suggestion was to do tough things that make you happy. Happiness indicates living your best life and making a difference. I now let myself feel it physically every time I make a decision, whether it's a lipstick color or a life-changing one like eating, calling, or accepting a job. This near-death experience blessed me in ways I cannot express. Love and the power to change the world through our thoughts and actions are my greatest lessons. Please know that I love you, appreciate your listening, and hope you choose love. Declining as the sun bathes our faces while we stare into the sky. When the sun rises, we sing. I'm Crystal Ray, and I'm glad to tell you about something that changed my life. Before we begin, I want you to know how much your soul means to me. I was in a terrible car accident about 20 years ago. It is a special moment as we gather,